How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today I'm going to go over the one trade that I took on QQQ. It was a small loser. It was right at the end of the day. I missed the majority of the move down. Reality is I probably shouldn't have taken the trade. But before I get into the trade that I took that I shouldn't have, we're on the daily time frame here looking at QQQ. You see we got a gap down overnight and a pretty solid downtrending day overall. Biggest red day that we've had in a long time overall. So it is a higher low. You know, we've had this on this series of higher highs and higher lows. We have higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So uptrend is still intact. This isn't the end, but it is interesting nonetheless. With that being said, though, let's take a look at some of the things I was watching and how today played out. We had the high and low from yesterday. None of those came into play today, as like I said, we had a gap down and we never came up close to those areas. We had a pre-market low around 440.3, and right in the opening of the day, we were watching this zone that was the previous all-time high. Feels silly to say that now, but previous swing high around this like 440.5. It was also a point that we found some support before this big move last Friday. So we are kind of opening right at that level, watching for that level and this pre-market low to hold as support. If we broke down below, you see what happens. To the downside, we had a few zones such as like 439-ish area that came from this local top here. We also have this like 438.6 to 438.3. That was, you know, these swing highs in here. And then we had 436.64 to 436.9 or so. That was this swing low here. Found some support on this day. Found some resistance here, some support here once we got back above it. And then the kind of final area that I had, and you can see, you know, obviously there's kind of a level right in here, right? That we had support here, here, and here. I didn't have anything all the way down here though. As we'd been trending up, I didn't have levels charted all the way down there. So my lowest level that I had for the day was this 435 area that we found support here before making a move higher. Found support here on this swing low before we made a big reversal. Had some bounces in here. And then it was the low of this day where we had a big reversal off that area as well. So that 435 whole number, and we had some big reversals from that area. So those were the areas that I was watching. Coming into the day, we had some news at both 9:45 a.m. Eastern time and 10 a.m. Eastern time. So start of the day, just selling right through that initial support, bouncing a little bit at this like 439 zone that we had. That 9:45 news came out right here, so no trades at this time. News came out, broke down to the next zone, kind of ping-ponged a little bit between these. We had news come out at 8. You see that jump in volume. We see that candle spike up. Kind of tested this swing high here, you know, this lower high that we had, and quickly rejected from there. The one trade today that I would have liked to take, but I missed, and the reason why I missed it is things happened pretty fast today. I've been trying to wait for confirmation on a 5-minute time frame to enter a trade. What that confirmation would be is like a test and hold of a zone, or a test and rejection of a zone for continuation, whether we're going up or down, respectively. Was this right here. So this is something that I was watching. It was a zone that we held for a little bit. We had a bit of like a bear flag as well. We broke it on some serious volume and a big bearish candle. And we had, so a broken bear flag, we had previous support, and we had a zone here, and swing low. So all of these things, I was watching for the retest and continuation down to this zone. We got that pretty perfectly, and you might be wondering why I did not take this, and that's because it happened super quick. We can take a look here, and what it looked like here on the 1-minute chart is this right here. So I'll remove these trend lines that I put in so we can avoid any distraction. So this is the previous low. Like I said, we had that news reaction here at 8, dumped down below, came up, retested it, and pretty much sold off immediately. So if you look at where we were to retest around 438.35, it dropped within 2 minutes, 437 point, 60 cents or so within 2 minutes. So at this point, I didn't want to chase the trade, especially because we had this higher volume bounce here. And you can see we kind of chopped around a little bit before finally breaking down and getting that continuation. So didn't want to chase here. Wasn't going to just take puts immediately. I wanted to see us come up, test this zone, get confirmation that we were weak and that we were forming a lower high for the continuation of the downtrend. Like I said, it just happened too quick and I didn't get in. And then once it happened, I didn't want to chase it. So that was one trade that I was watching and I didn't do. And I think my missing of this trade, we'll say, or like the fact that I did not get in this trade that I wanted to, perhaps played out in the way of me taking this trade that I'm about to show you here. So once we had sold off, we were kind of in between zones here, and it was getting later in the day. We see volume kind of decline a little bit. We see the price action. These candles are getting smaller in size, and I think that's a sign that, you know, usually I get off around 9 my time, around 11 Eastern time, just because the first hour and a half of the day is generally you get a lot of volume. Middle of the day you can get a lot of chop. It's usually like the first hour and a half of the day, last hour of the day that you get the most volume and price action. So with that being said, I probably shouldn't have traded here. I probably should have just accepted that I missed the move down and walked away. But I was watching this right here. We had, and I'll throw on the EMA as well because that was, why can I not, what is happening? Moving average exponential, add it, apply it, solid. All right, let's take a look here. So we'd been below this EMA all day. Typical, you know, sign for a downtrend being below that EMA. We came down, like I said, volume kind of slowed down. We stopped dropping, stopped making new lows. And I was watching this area around the EMA as well as this 436.5. And we were forming a bit of a bear flag here. So we kind of had this consolidation. We came down and we started chopping around in this area. We broke here, and I'll go on the 1 minute chart and we can look a little bit closer, but we got some increasing volume and broke out of this flag or this consolidation on the 1 minute and the 5 minute. And I took puts as we came up and retested this area here. So I took a single put as we retested kind of this broken broken support and that EMA here, and I got out on this candle once we broke above. Now you can see that we did reject off this zone, and we did continue down to just about make a new low. I suppose we did make a new low by a few cents. So what was I targeting? I was targeting a return to low a day, so it would have been, you know, 436.4 to 435, almost $1 move. So not a bad risk to reward with a break above the EMA, and this like 436.5 was my stop. So this stopped me out. What did I do wrong? I think I entered too soon. I think I also could have paid attention to the fact that we got this breakout of consolidation, but did not get a lower low, right? We got this break, but we ended up closing with that wick getting pushed up and ultimately making a higher low. So we had a low here and then a higher low. So selling volume was kind of dying down. We did get a break out of that consolidation, but we failed to make a lower low. In fact, got a higher low. And then we had this candle here on increasing volume. You see that volume increasing, pushing up. So I probably entered too early. It's not the greatest confirmation ever. And I got stopped out. I got stopped out because I had tight stop loss. I was trying to have a nice risk to reward here. And I was figuring that once we got this breakout, we were weak all day, that we'd get continuation down. We ultimately did later in the day. But entered too early and didn't really have the confirmation there. This candle right here, this 5-minute close, is pretty bullish. So especially on increasing volume, closing near the high of the candle, that's not really what you want to see if you're taking a short. I'll remove this and we'll take a look at the 1 minute as well. So once again, I think this kind of shows what I was watching. So I was watching this, and bear with me, there we go. So we had a few rejections off this area, right? We came up, rejected, 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 but we were making higher lows here. And then we got this spike in volume as we broke down. But like I said, we failed to make a lower low. And as we came up, I took puts, or a single put. I only took a single contract in here, and I stopped out on this candle. We came up, we tested this zone, got a little bit of a push down. I held through this thinking that, maybe this area that we had rejected here and here. But once we broke up into this with increasing volume here, this candle stopped me out. Now, what would have been, better is to take puts in this zone once we were getting up in here. Hindsight 2020, obviously. But nonetheless, I think realistically probably shouldn't have been trading during this point of the day. Regardless, had I taken a put later on, once we were rejecting in here, it would have worked out when we made a new lower low. But nonetheless, this is typically later in the day, typically a little bit choppier part of the day. So I think the reason why I took this is not because it's some A+ setup. It is more so because I missed, these trades in here. So that's the truth of it. I just, we got an excellent downtrending day. Moves happened pretty fast, and I didn't get the entries that I wanted. And so the one trade that I did take, luckily, I didn't scale into it. I didn't size up. It was a small loss. So that's a positive. Negative is probably should have just accepted that I didn't get a trade that I wanted today and walked away from it rather than trading some of this more sideways action that we got in here. Not to be said that this wouldn't have been a good trade. Like I said, it's like, over a dollar move, $1.50 move if you were to capture this. So the idea was there. I wasn't too far off. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll get stopped out right before the move happens. If I stuck around a little longer, I could have re-entered, say, here on this candle once we kind of broke down, made a lower high. But once again, volume's pretty low. It is what it is. That's all I got for you. I do appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. I do trade live Monday through Friday. I'll be here all week trying to learn and apply these lessons. And hopefully, come out on the other side next time. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. Peace out.